We've got to do the...
Born up a tree.
Yeah.
How does that work?
No, I'm kidding. I made it up.
Go. You're on.
Good morning, Cape Town. This is Mark and Sean after their weekly... Is it a weekly? I suppose it's a weekly AM swim.
Yes. So yeah, we've just had an amazing swim this morning and we thought we'd come and get some breakfast. So I'm here with a good friend of mine, Mark. I actually mentioned him in one of the other videos where I mentioned that he invited me to come for the early morning swim. So
that's right, yeah.
So that's been great. And Mark asked me about Southeast Asia, traveling to Southeast Asia, because I've been to some of the countries, and obviously it's, I'm always happy to share advice. But I also want you guys to...
you were a bit stingy. You're a bit stingy with advice, but I'll get it out of him. Cool, yeah, no, I wanted to ask you...
I got excited when you mentioned Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia, yeah, because you've been there and you stayed there quite a while.
Yes.
Because you were shirking your responsibilities in South Africa. What was that all about?
First of all, the holy grail of living in Southeast Asia has to be Chiang Mai. It's sort of the benchmark of affordability, convenience, safety.
Chiang Mai is in
Thailand, northern Thailand.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's northern Thailand. It is not what most people know when it comes to Thailand, because most people go to the islands, sort of down in the south, Phuket, Koh Samui.
So what's great about it?
It is, first of all, it's a student city, I would call it, but it's a very chilled city. It doesn't have many high-rises or any of that, but it's got all the conveniences. I used to call it plug and play. These days I call it arrive and thrive, because you can literally just arrive and thrive in terms of, if you are working remotely, if you do happen to be part of the, digital community that can work from anywhere using digital tools. So some call them digital nomads. That word has obviously, I don't know, it means different things to different people, and it's received a bit of a bad sort of connotation, the phrase digital nomads.
When I hear it, I think of a Bedouin on a camel with an iPhone.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so Chiang Mai is great because it's a chilled student city. It's more affordable?
Yeah, it's definitely more affordable, and I mean...
How much are you looking at spending per night for like a room, or I guess is it a dorm, like a lot of dorm accommodation? Or?
First of all, there is a lot of accommodation. There are a lot of apartment blocks, which is great. And there's a lot of what they call serviced apartments, which is pretty much like staying in a hotel. It's like getting an apartment that's got all the basics you need.
Wow.
So a very small kitchen, but fully furnished, a bed, a TV, internet.
What's like the daily rate for that?
Daily rate, I'm not so sure, because the other thing is they rent them out as daily, weekly, and monthly. And usually, if you're going to be staying longer term,
but if you stay longer term, what are you looking at budgeting as an amount?
Yeah, the place we were renting was 7,000 rand a month, and we were sharing that. That was a serviced apartment. That was also part of a hotel. But you can get way cheaper than that as well. You can get a studio probably for about 4,500 per month.
Right.
And you can obviously, if you're looking at nightly rates, again, I'm not too sure about the nightly rates, but it'll be the equivalent of sort of backpacking, affordable backpacking in other countries. So it'll be very affordable, and you can get it even cheaper. We were having a conversation with people that were paying I think 7,500 baht per month for their studio, furnished, and you can divide that by 2.5.
Yeah.
So you can probably get a place for 2,500 to 3,000 rand per month.
Right.
So yeah, it's just a lot more affordable. And the other thing is when it comes to food and transport, you can obviously rent yourself a scooter, which will probably set you back. Again, all the rates that I have top of mind are monthly rates. So you pay about 1,000 rand per month for a scooter rental, and then refilling it is
nothing.
Yeah, nothing. And the other thing with internet, there are not a lot of the extras that you end up paying in other countries, whereas in other countries you rent an apartment that might not have, internet, or, you might have to pay additional for, I don't know, whatever security or parking or, whatever that is.
So it's kind of all just set up in a way.
It feels very set up. There is abundance of apartments. Most of the time, it does get busy over, the Christmas time, I guess the winter in Thailand, which is sort of the December time, because lots of people are traveling. So it does get busy, and that's when you want to kind of book in advance a little bit. And no doubt you do get the more expensive hotels.
But it's not coastal.
No, it's not coastal. So Chiang Mai is inland. There are mountains. You can go kind of running, mountain biking, hiking, those type of activities, but it's not coastal. So
Right.
no surfing, no islands, none of that. You would have
Okay.
to fly sort of half an hour or a bit longer to get to the islands of Thailand, which is fairly affordable.
Right.
And then Vietnam, you asked originally about Vietnam. I just started talking about Chiang Mai because it's a favorite destination, and it's the place where I've spent a lot of my time in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And it's definitely sort of a hub. Like a lot of people will go there for a month and then they'll like end up staying for like 6 months or something or longer. Vietnam is also affordable. What we found traveling Vietnam, we went to Ho Chi Minh City, and then we spent 2 weeks Ho Chi
What
Minh
do you think
City.
of Ho Chi Minh?
Ho Chi Minh was, first of all, Vietnam is amazing. It is really different. All the places in Southeast Asia are so different from each other, which I love.
How is it different from Chiang Mai?
The people are different, the culture is different, the food is different, like everything's different. The traffic is different, the noise levels are different.
Yeah. Better in Vietnam?
I like how Vietnam is different, but I wouldn't like it for longer term living. So it's great for a holiday and to experience the differences, but I can't deal with that noise, the noise levels and the chaos of the traffic.
Right. Yeah, but you were in Ho Chi Minh, like you could have been in a
true.
rural area or...
You could go to a rural area and it's a lot different. It's also a lot less developed, Vietnam, than Thailand.
I would imagine that's where...
Look at that. I think the water shortage in Cape Town is trickling down into the water supply in the teapot. It's just, the water's just coming out here so slowly.
It's basically the taps running
Yeah,
by.
yeah, it is.
Okay, so I suppose that's some of the romance of Vietnam, is that it's less developed.
Yes, exactly. So
It's like, well, I'll go there and I'll sleep on banana leaves. Or
you could.
whatever it is that people imagine they do.
The other thing I've definitely realized from the traveling that we've done is that we've always looked for destinations that have fast internet, that are very well connected, that have...
I want to be like Julia Roberts and Eat, Pray, Love. So I want to find...
So glad you mentioned that one, because that's the next destination is Indonesia.
Yeah.
Which we've also recently explored. So
Have you?
Yes, that's where
wanna
we've just come
find
from.
That friendly old man who tells me to smile with my liver or smile with my kidneys.
Do you know that individual he's done quite well for himself after that
should
book
bloody
and
well hope
movies,
so,
because
yeah.
everyone's flocking there to try and find Ketut. And
was he a real deal? He was
yeah.
Okay.
The actor was actually a teacher from another part of Indonesia that played the
Okay.
character in the movie, but the actual Ketut, the doctor, he's real, and people obviously go and they want to see him, but he's obviously not the person you see in the movie. So the guy looks quite different, and he probably sounds quite different, probably can't speak much
He's
English.
actually from Scotland.
Possibly. So that's all very interesting. What is it that you are looking for or looking to experience?
What am I not looking for?
Yeah, what are you not looking for?
I'm not looking for...
What a great way to approach that question. What are you not looking for?
Yeah, I think it's easier in
true.
this case. I'm not looking for... I'm leaving because for a while I'd like to just not be tied down by anything.
Right.
I want to have fewer responsibilities. I want to have fewer belongings. And I think we've spoken about this before. It will be an experiment playing with minimalism of sorts.
Right.
That appeals to me. I want to escape monoculture. So I suppose I'm going to learn about other cultures and learn some of the languages.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned languages in our other conversation.
Yeah. I would like to do improv abroad. I've already Googled it. There's improv in Bali. There's improv in I'm probably in Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
Yeah.
like in Saigon there is. There's a group called... They have like a funny name.
Same place, right? Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon.
Oh, sorry. Is that
Same
like
city.
the new name?
Different names, yeah. Just the new name. Exactly. I'm sure they again, these cities are very popular amongst expats and travelers, and also I guess Bali probably, I don't know actually. I'm thinking sort of creatives and yeah. I'm sure you'll find interesting things.
I think eating vegan food doesn't make you creative.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, then I'm probably on the wrong track.
No, I heard from my friend who recently went to Bali. It's just like every like beach bar you go to, it's just like gluten-free coconut granola ice cream.
It is, and that's also the experience that we had. And I actually spoke to another friend before I went to Ubud and Bali in general, and he mentioned that it wasn't his favorite place because of that. Because of those cafes, because of the people with their laptops.
Yeah, I mean, where's the deep fried Mars bars?
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Ooh, and look, it's on like a flatbread.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so
Delicious.
much. This looks amazing.
We've got to do the...
Born up a tree.
Yeah.
How does that work?
No, I'm kidding. I made it up. Bon appetit.
So it's totally this whole, like, you know, wherever you go, you eat bowls, and there are people in there, you know, designer...
Bowls?
Yeah.
Can you explain?
Bowls are, you know, they essentially meals. Either it's a breakfast bowl or a lunch bowl, or it's just a bowl of food, but it's called a bowl. And I didn't have that many of them while I was there, but I definitely got introduced to them.
Right.
And it's just the thing, you know, you got to go and have
I've
a bowl.
seen it appear in local menus now.
Right, they've beautifully photographed. It's perfect for Instagram. The other thing, people, you know, are on their scooter with their designer swimwear and their longboard, surfboard attached to the scooter. You know, driving in front of the picturesque rice paddies. It's sort of, it's kind of, in a way, it's if you would search the hashtag Bali travel or whatever on Instagram, it's kind of those images come to life. But then there's also the other side of it, and that's sort of the fact that Bali as an island is completely overrun. There's horrendous traffic wherever you go. There's a lot of rubbish lying around.
So it's very polluted, you say?
Yeah, it's polluted and crowded, and that's the part I didn't enjoy. So I guess you got to go and find those hidden spots, you know.
Yeah, and pollute them.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh gosh. So it's not everyone's cup of tea, I guess. Depends what group you're trying to fit into and what path you are pursuing in life. But Vietnam, I was telling you, we started in Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City.
Do you mainly take buses around Southeast Asia, or do you fly everywhere?
Not many buses, mostly flights, but also whenever possible trains. I personally love train travel, and some routes are enjoyable and pretty. But like flights are also obviously very affordable and they get you around. We started in Ho Chi Minh City for 2 weeks, and then we flew up to Hanoi, where we initially spent 1 week. That's also when we went up to Halong Bay, but just for a day trip, because we only had a week and we weren't sure if we were going to come back. So we didn't do the whole Halong Bay cruise. We just went up for a day, which isn't recommended because it's quite a far drive, and you don't see much of the bay on a day trip. Ideally, you want to do the cruise, which we did a few years later. We recently did the cruise when we went back. And then from Hanoi, we took an overnight train to Hue, which is to Hue. It's Hue. we called it U for a while. Kinda, yeah, but it's called Hue.
It's probably very offensive. Sorry, I just don't speak.
Yeah. So, and then that was fun because we met a great another couple. It's like an overnight train ride, sleeper coach to Hue, and Hue is a very kind of rural city along the coast. There are lots of sort of tombs and temples that you can explore. There was also a lot that happened there in the Vietnam War. We kind of took the time while we were in Vietnam to learn a bit more about the war, and so yeah, that was really interesting. And then we took the train from Hue to Da Nang, which is one of the most beautiful train rides in the world. Brilliant. Along the coast. It only takes a few hours, and yeah, that's highly recommended. And then Da Nang is also an interesting city. It's definitely worth checking out. It's on the coast. One of the things we did in Da Nang was we took a back of the bike tour along the coast, and that was truly amazing. I enjoyed that a lot. But it is very interesting because Vietnam is definitely a hell of a lot less developed than Thailand, and it's not as plug and play like with apartments waiting for you. So if you want to get off the beaten track, it's great. And it's also great for sort of motorbike tours. I know you're into motorbikes, so that's something I would love to go back to Vietnam for, to do some motorbike tours. You can also do that in Thailand. if you're not needing the connectivity and the convenience and the infrastructure to actually live there for a longer period of time, and you're just kind of traveling minimalist and exploring and doing, I mean, I'd call it more backpacking because you have less stuff. And you could rely on sort of mobile internet if you do need internet instead of needing fast internet every day, or you don't need internet at all. Then, I mean, yes, it's just a playground, Southeast Asia. It really is awesome for that. My experience has been more like looking for hubs and bases and to spend more time in. From Da Nang, we took a flight to Nha Trang, where we actually spent the New Year that year. And Nha Trang, yeah, I would probably not ever go back there again.
Right.
It's sort of a tourist town that's completely been taken over sort of by Russian tourists. So a lot of the restaurants the menus are in Russian, and they have sort of this theme park that's just been built on an island offshore where you take this cable car across, but it was built like many moons back. Yeah, and from Nha Trang we actually went back to Hanoi, and we spent a month in Hanoi, staying in the hotel that we started off in, and it was in the old quarter, and it was lovely. So that just to give you, an overview of the time we spent in Vietnam. And as I said, we recently went back and we did Hanoi, showed them Hanoi, and then we went to Halong Bay and we did a 2-night, 3-day cruise on like one of the biggest junks on the bay, and it was awesome. And it was all overcast and like mystical and like cool, and all the people from Europe were angry because they wanted sunshine. And we were just loving it because it was so refreshing. We did Tai Chi on the deck, we did kayaking.
You did Tai Chi on the deck?
Yes, and I went swimming in Halong Bay.
It's a bit much for me. I'll watch Netflix on the deck.
Right.
I think there's only so much spirituality I can handle all in one go.
Right, yeah. Well, that one's maybe not for you. You might then want to stay in the cabin. So...
do push-ups. I'll do push-ups in the deck.
Right. Or squats. Indonesia was interesting, was fun. Haven't been to Cambodia.
So Indonesia, you rate highly?
I would say yes. For checking out the more rural parts, I think yes, it is definitely worth visiting and exploring and traveling. I think with Indonesia, with the last trip that I was on, it left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth because we got ill, and the places we stayed were very touristy. So based on that, I guess I'm sharing my opinion. Whereas I did really appreciate the natural beauty, the people, the culture. Just keep in mind that Ubud is after Eat, Pray, Love, Ubud is just become like a museum. So
right.
And I don't think the locals are too impressed by that.
Sounds great. Can I meet Julia Roberts then?
But it's still beautiful and picturesque. So
if you could see her enormous smile in real life, Julia Roberts' enormous smile in real life, how could that not heal you? That's what I want to know.
It certainly would, I think. Yeah. But I didn't find her there, so I didn't even find Ketut, the healer.
Did you even look, though?
I did.
Some say that in the evening... I don't know what I'm talking about. She has a niece that's also in the acting world now.
Right.
Also by the surname Roberts, who looks kind of similar. It's also very attractive. Mm-hmm. And like... a much more suitable age match for me.
Right. There we go. Yeah, one shouldn't really
staying open-minded.
One really shouldn't limit oneself to the, like superstar celebrities. One should always look down the family line. Is that what you're saying? Mm-hmm. I think that's wise. Definitely think that's wise. I was definitely looking in Ubud though. I was looking so hard that I saw 2 pythons, and one of them was in one of the temple compounds, and it was coming up this waterfall. It was fascinating. The locals were throwing rocks at it, not to kill it, I believe, but to just shoo it away. But it was this massive...
anaconda.
Yeah. It was like yellow and huge. Not an anaconda, but yeah, it was a python. But then they eventually shooed it in the direction of the temple where all the tourists were, which I thought was great.
Good.
In Indonesian culture, I believe, and also I believe it's also in Thai culture and in the religion, if any animal that's in a temple compound is holy, so you cannot injure it or harm it.
I think at the moment, something as simple as spending a week in each place is probably... unless you've got an alternative recommendation, I think in a week you can see a fair amount. without getting stuck in. Whichever place I enjoy the most, I'll just like allocate another 1 or 2 weeks.
Right. I struggle with that because I really struggle with the kind of I know there's that
Pauschalreisen.
Wie bitte?
Pauschalreisen is like tick box tours. It's like It's like seen that, let's go.
It's the week-long tours where it's like speed traveling.
Yeah.
And where I know
no,
the
but
whole thing of like
I'm not saying like spend a week in a country. I'm saying like spend a week in a little town or village or whatever, and like maybe do little day trips out, but just and also, I mean, it might be a bit ambitious, but hopefully through improv I will actually meet locals or people who are sort of have kind of become semi-local,
right,
English speakers.
When are you hoping or looking at leaving or going to travel?
I haven't set a date. In my mind I was thinking June, July, August because it's winter here.
The only other thing to keep in mind is the different seasons, to look into that.
I mean, that's summer there, and apparently it's a bit unbearable.
Yeah, I mean, usually these places, not all of them, but some of them have sort of wet and dry seasons. And the wet seasons is just a lot more rain. Usually the rain's very tropical, so it kind of rains really hard and then it stops. But sometimes the entire like neighborhood and streets flood. But the rain sometimes also makes it a bit more cooler, but some places are very humid. Some of the islands in Thailand, for example, they're completely shut down over that time because
May?
I don't know. I've got a Google spreadsheet where I've written out the different places I've been and when the best times are to go and visit them. Oh. So it's something I can send you a screenshot of or something. Yeah. But because it's useful to know when it's good to go to a specific place. Because it can be that it doesn't really matter at all and you have a great stay, but yeah, sometimes it's worth noting and planning accordingly. So it's also weird because Chiang Mai, because it's in the north, is very different from the islands. It's not as humid, it's a lot cooler, but Chiang Mai has the notorious smoky season, which is in end of Feb, March, even April, where the farmers burn their fields and then the air becomes terrible, like terribly polluted, and yeah, it's horrible. 9:03.
Yeah.
It's so great when you start the morning early.
Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it gorgeous?
Look how much we've done
in
already.
In an alternative universe, Sean, you haven't woken up yet.
Exactly.
And then when you do, you go, I've wasted so much of the day.
Yeah, thanks so much. Like, what is it that you're working on and what is it that you're currently doing? Because Mark is a very talented, creative, all of those things.
Underemployed is the byword for that. I am a voiceover and an actor in Cape Town, and I'm looking to travel this year to parts of the world that I haven't seen, and I'm turning 31 next week. So I think it's high time.
Awesome. And tell us a bit about, if people are interested in what you're currently doing in Cape Town, because you've mentioned some things to me that I want to come check out. So,
absolutely.
So share that if anyone's watching this and and I'll obviously add any links in the description below.
I'm a part-time stripper. That's a joke. No, I'm a member of an improvised comedy troupe called The Long Shots, and I'm part of another little outfit as well called Tall, Dark and Awkward. You can check us out on Facebook, or you can Google us, The Long Shots. We perform every Monday in Obs at the Armchair, and it's a lot of fun. It's basically playing games on stage or improvising an entire play based on a one-word suggestion from the audience, and it's just mucking about on stage with your friends and having a laugh, and it's an excellent first date for any of you people who take people out on dates. Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, thanks for sharing, and it's been great chatting. I'm sure we'll do this again. So, awesome.